And welcome back to Survivor Hot Takes. It's me, Coach Drew, and Emily, and we are joined today by a friend of the channel, John Buckley, who we have not seen since
I think
42
43.
and 42. Well, since 42 and 42.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, maybe 43. I don't know.
It would have to be 43 because 42 and 42 was last summer.
Over
We
the
brought him
summer.
on
Yeah,
for
that's true.
43.
I think
Okay.
Um,
43. One time.
so,
I think for
John.
the finale, like whenever we did our little panel.
Oh, yeah.
We missed you so much, John Buckley. I didn't miss you too much because I just saw you a couple days ago, but I still missed you a whole bunch.
I missed you 5 minutes after I left. So.
I know, it's true. Well, what a moment. For everyone who didn't know and wasn't aware, we a few of us had the chance to go to the Bryce and Wen Present event in Pittsburgh, which is our hometown. Everyone's always invited. John Buckley joined us this time, which was super, super fun. We got to hang out with a whole bunch of fun survivors. We met Heidi, who's a queen. It was a whole moment, you know. How was your experience, John? Did you thrive?
I thrived. I mean, I don't thrive in like bars. I'm very much like an at-home drinker, so being around people in a bar setting, I'm like,
yeah.
But then like add like people like from Survivor on top of that, and I'm like, so like I was stressed because like things just kept happening, but it was fun. Like it was,
right.
It was fun. Like socially, I was exhausted, but it was a great time.
That's kind of where I was at too. Like it was just so great to see because there were a few like familiar faces of people that I've seen before. Like obviously Bryce. Like Bryce is like the nicest person in the world, you know. And then like I got to see you again, and then like a few of my very close friends, and so it was nice. It was a good blend, you know. I think of a lot of people. But we missed you, Andrew, a lot.
I'd like to mention real fast my favorite moment of the entire night. We were standing talking to I think Bryce, and you turn around and you just screamed. And I was like, what's going on? And she's like, it is Chet. It's Chet from Micronesia. And sure enough, it's Chet just standing there. And just like, it's Chet. And just like screaming it. And then he looks at her and goes, yes, it's Chet.
But no, he has a character development because for Micronesia, he was listed as a chicken farmer, but now he farms cows. And he was like 30 minutes away from me. Like there were so many things that happened in like those few minutes. I was swooning. I wasn't well. And I kept asking Chet for all of his opinions. He was like, I don't know. Like
he had like his 44 opinions, and I'm sitting here asking him questions about Micronesia.
Yeah.
Hard hitting Micronesia questions that I feel like honestly at this point I'm going to keep to myself because it's good.
It is really good. Yeah.
It's tea.
And it's good too, because I feel like we just got like so much more perspective from a show. You know, like I mean, Survivor has only like an hour every week to paint a certain narrative, but like the reality is that there's 18 different truths to the same story. So it's just really interesting to hear what wasn't featured and what was, you know?
Well, and I know John Buckley loves Chet for other reasons, specifically his diving skills in Micronesia. So I know that was an amazing time for you.
It's so funny to me.
I like was not well. That was probably like out of all the survivors that I met that night, like that was a moment for me. Like I was crazy
for everybody in the general vicinity because I think people thought there was a fire in the building by the way you were screaming. Like
I don't even care that I was yelling. So I mean, it was fucking Chet. Like when's the next time we're gonna see fucking Chet? You know, like never. Well, actually, we should just travel to his new cow farm. It's like 30 minutes down the road from me.
Please leave that man alone.
No.
Did Chet have any opinions on this episode of Survivor 44? Because I have a lot of thoughts.
Tell me your thoughts. Chet didn't have lots of thoughts about the new age of Survivor. He doesn't have a lot of feelings about it.
So I've sat here for the last 3 seasons, and I've pretty much defended almost everything that the show does. You know, I know a lot of people hate the direction the show has been going, the twists and all this and other things that they are wrong about. But I've kind of just said, hey guys, we're still getting Survivor. And I understand people's qualms with a lot of the stuff that's been happening. And I feel like, because I didn't watch this one live, when I finally got around to watching it, I understood. Like it finally just, I basically jumped ship. It started off great, and we're going to go into details about, you know, the good aspects of the episode. But for the last, I don't know, 20, 25 minutes, you're just sitting there like, this is going to be horrible because this man is going home.
Oh,
and everyone knows that I was not rooting for Matt because I'm a Franny person and I need Franny separated from Matt. Having said that, I felt so horrible for the kid. I don't even know how old he is, but I felt so horrible for him because he was in a situation that there was no way out of, and not because he couldn't strategize or whatever. Like, he just put in a shit situation.
Yeah.
And, they love to do this whole, oh, yeah, it's all a matter of luck and stuff. Well, old Survivor luck is something, you playing your idol at the right time, or finding an idol, or like something where it doesn't feel like production is purposely adding luck to a situation. I don't know if I'm making sense.
No, that makes perfect sense.
So now in this situation, all the unluck that Matt has is because of something that Prod has chosen to do in this situation. And, sitting at that tribal, I think that I keep saying the casts keep saving these seasons. The cast saved this episode from being horrible for me only because you could tell that most of them were just like, man, this really sucks that we have to do this. Right. And so that's kind of my spiel on it. But before we go into details, how did y'all think about the episode?
I don't know. Like I'm in the same boat as you. Like, I think that like it pushed the inevitable, in my opinion, that Matt and Franny had to be separated. Like, that duo was way too strong to go much further in the game, but it added gas onto a fire that was going to be lit regardless. There were a few ways about him going out in that way that I didn't really care for. Like, we talked about this before we went live. Like, I think that wasn't fair for him to not have access to his shot in the dark. Like, like John Buckley, you mentioned earlier, like, they give them their torches, they move their torches. Why couldn't they have also moved like critical pieces to make them successful in the game along with it? I also I don't know. Like, I think that like dividing them the 5 versus 5 in that way was just not necessary either. Like, it's still a game of social power, and like that wasn't authentic to the reasoning. Does that make sense? So yeah, I don't know. Hey, Brandon.
Hi.
John.
John, what are your thoughts?
It's loaded. Well, first, I think the idea of them doing the split tribal council deal is not foreign.
Yeah.
But I think they tried to, I think they said, we're in the era of we're going to one up things and we're going to try to make it new. And I think that the way they did it was a little too overproduced. I think that it was almost going in Australian Survivor level direction of overproduction. And I love Australian Survivor, but it's a fact. But what frustrated me more so was the advantage that Heidi had. I personally thought that was too much. And that's not her fault. That's not any of the players' fault. But I think that advantage was too
it's too loaded for an already loaded tribal,
Exactly. And I don't think it's right to tell, I think the fundamentals of Survivor and you basically telling somebody they have to vote one way and then forcing them to do it kind of takes away the fundamentals of Survivor in my eyes. I don't know. It's not the same as a steal a vote or something like that. You're literally telling somebody your right to vote is gone.
Yeah.
What if they played this and Matt had never gone to a tribal council and he didn't have a vote?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What was Heidi going to do? If Heidi went to him and said, oh, you're voting this way, then he has to reveal to everybody that he doesn't have a vote. Right. And then that whole play, if he had a play for that, is now gone. So it just seemed, I don't know. I don't know if I have a really opinion on it other than the fact that I just don't think it was too overdone.
I agree with you. Yeah, I think it was just a little bit too much considering that they only had 5 options anyway, I don't know. It was very, very challenging to watch.
Also, this was the merge tribal, and only
Yeah.
5 of them voted. Like, come on, like this is a critical. I mean, I guess technically the mergatory vote was the first one, but like this is a critical vote.
Here's my other question with that, just for clarification, because whenever something something similar to this happened in 43, and we thought Dwight was going to be the first person in the jury, and he still wasn't. Is Matt actually the first official member of the jury? Did they announce that?
Jeff said he was on the jury.
Okay. I'm never sure.
They also did it at like around early in 43. Like they're never going to do jury at 12 ever again because
right.
Like it's just the way the mathematics they want to avoid a 9-person jury in a final 3 at all costs, and God forbid that we have a final 2 anymore.
No, that'll never happen again. It'll never happen.
So and I'll sit here and I'll say this, you know, at a certain point, it's almost like if anyone's ever seen the movie The Truman Show.
Oh
my God. It feels like they're adding things to the game to push the story arc a different way. Now, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and say that they pick favorites or pick who they want to win, because I still think that's bullshit. But I do feel like they've been adding way more things over the last 4 seasons, where it definitely feels like we're just gonna add all these plot devices and let's just see what happens. The fans are gonna love it. And the fans have not loved it. The fans have not loved most of what has been presented to us as far as the advantages. And like everyone's main complaints, the people that are not like ignorant, their main complaints have been all of these advantages. And you know, you're sitting here watching people like Franny and others kind of sit there and be like, yeah, you know, I've always wanted to come out and do this and blah blah blah. It's like, I wonder how they feel playing this version of the game at this point. Is this still the same? Is this what you expected? Do you feel like you're getting the actual Survivor experience, or do you feel like you're getting, for lack of a better phrase, a bastardized version of it? And it's unfortunate, you know?
Yeah. Well, I feel like that this kind of ties in, which I know you will never listen to, Andrew, but it ties in a lot with the On Fire with Jeff Probst's podcast from this week. Because, listen, it's good. Because it gives you a lot more context. So he talked about just like themes and like where themes kind of come from and stuff. So he had this great idea. I don't know. I want your opinion on this. Originally, the Survivor, like the new era, was supposed to circulate around currency. Did you hear that too? Where like, you know, like you had to spend, you didn't like that idea? Okay, well, he's like, you had to spend like, you know, whatever amount of money for a reward or for palm fronds or whatever, like that, you know? And so he gave this idea, you know, you need to earn the fire token. So like it was introduced, like which we saw in like Winners at War, and it was going to be like piloted throughout the new era. But then he talked to Mike White and asked his opinion, because he was working on like television production at the time. And Mike White was like, yeah, but like, is it fun? And I think that's like, he took that one comment and like blew it to 1,000, you know, like every single episode has a brand new twist or a brand new game or a brand new advantage. And I just think that was like that. So like, I think that was kind of where it originated from, you know?
John?
Sorry, I had to mute. I saw on my camera that Brandon brought out his cleaver to make salad, so I had to mute. Dropped his salad. Oh my God! Hello, sweetie.
You wanted to be a star today.
I love her. Yeah, no, the whole 40. That I read that and I was like, thank God that didn't happen, because I think that would have been abysmal. Like I think that like. And I also have not been the biggest fan of the 41 era, because I just feel like it lost the luster of Survivor. Mm-hmm. Like I can't differentiate the seasons anymore. They're all literally, it's like in the 2000s era where GM literally had the same car for every model and just slapped a different badge on it. That is 41, 42, 43, and 44. And I think that they just need to pump the brakes on it. Mm-hmm. And I want to see like a Kagiyan style season where it's, you know, do the 3 tribes of 6, whatever. But I want to see a swap into 2 tribes. Yeah. I want to see like a merge. I want to see only one idol per beach and maybe something else. But like let people play the game, because when people forget about like they're just thinking about advantages, you lose we don't get moments anymore like Tony versus Cass and Screaming Llama. We don't get moments of like people literally like act genuinely like having like tension and beef with each other, because everyone's so worried about advantages and like the game that the whole social part of the game is almost being pushed out.
Right.
Yeah. Paranoia. Now you're paranoid about, oh, is my idol real or is it fake? And now you're paranoid with things outside of the social and strategic things.
And there are so many fake ones too. I just think that it just like adds, I don't know. I think that like, again, like the focus is taking away from like that social capital, like exactly what you guys said, we didn't have.
We did have that moment. Yes, that is true. We did have that moment.
That is fair. But to say that we had one moment in 4 seasons, that lasted 5 minutes in one season, and 43 of all of them too. Like, let's be honest.
It's unfortunate. It really is. And I feel like I can't, and this is I'm probably making this up, but off the top of my head, I can't remember, everyone like Yam Yam and Carolyn are a duo-ish. And then we had Matt and Franny. And I don't it's been established in this episode that we have those two duos. And it doesn't seem like anyone really cares. Like that's not where I don't see that as the main reason that they voted Matt out. And I could be wrong, but the fact that they are basically being outward about it. Matt's on his way out saying, "Hey, Franny, like, way to go." I don't think that's going to put a target on her back. And I feel like in the past, that probably would have. I feel like, you saying, "Hey, that's my girl on my way out," would make people, "Oh, man, we should probably get rid of Franny because the jury is there," and, and all that. But because people, now their priorities are, is my idol real or fake? Do I have a vote? How many votes do I have? Whose vote can I change? It's the social game has moved from here to about here. And then the advantage game is here. And the strategic game has been impacted by the fact that the advantage game has moved all the way up here. Because, I feel like 41 through 44, I would say that I feel like the main consensus as far as the best strategist during that time period is maybe Jesse. If anyone wants to say other names of strategists that people might look at during this era,
I would say Omar.
Yes. Okay. Yep. Yes. Okay. I'll give you that too. But at a certain point, I'm used to having a few good strategists, a few good social players, but they're all the same. Like John said, it just seems like, I feel like by 50, if people bring up a random person from 42 or 43, oh yeah, that's the one from 41, or they're all the same. It's like,
and I think that's like
South Pacific.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I think that's like the the downfall, I guess, of like all like they're casting a specific archetype with it being all super fans, and by doing that, it really eliminates the ability for a bunch of different personalities to really flourish. Like, I think that it prevents the game from being at a higher capital than what we've seen before,
Yeah,
I think we should do a season of super fans versus people that literally don't know what Survivor is.
Yeah. That'd be so good.
It'd be hilarious. Okay, honestly, that was Caramelin. But like, make them interesting. I don't know, because both tribes in Caramelin suck except for Brenda, and I said it.
That's Brenda and her 6 scenes. Okay,
it was 5. Thank you.
I would die for her.
No, Caramon is the closest we've ever gotten with super fans versus, hey, you're hot. And we saw how that turns out, but we also don't want to go back to, it's funny because for a long time, people like bitched about recruits, like all the recruits. I would say that some of the seasons that people put in carry in high regard are recruit heavy seasons.
Right.
But personally, I'm done with that because I do want people to kind of know what they're doing. But to y'all's credit, a lot of that mess, a lot of that, all those arguments come from people that hadn't actually really watched the show, and so they kind of act in a way that people that know how the game is played wouldn't. If that makes sense?
No, that makes perfect sense.
So I want to use this as a episode was fine. Matt goes, I do want to say that, and I've seen some people say, oh yeah, maybe Franny should have dropped. No, I think that's insane.
I don't think so either. I think that
community when you can get it.
Well, and it's also like a lot of people are saying, it's a symbolic thing, but it's also like a very real social thing. Like if she dropped and then five other people's asses would be on the line, like those other 4 aren't going to come back with like, oh, it's fine. We understand that you had to save Matt. Like it would be so obvious if you know what I mean? So that wasn't just that wasn't a fluke. I think that she did the right thing.
Yeah.
She had to save her own,
Yeah. I felt for her and Carolyn sitting there watching their people kind of not get dragged, but I felt for them. But I feel like the big thing that so Emily texted me about this. I hadn't actually heard about it yet. The Bruce thing, if you want to go down that road.
Yeah. So I don't know this for sure. This is a rumor, but it's been released from Inside Survivor that Bruce has been officially invited to return for 45. So he's going to be. Oh, you didn't know that, John? Yeah. So that was just released like pretty recently, like I think today. So that to me, I think is indicating a returnee season for 45. I think that. Like every 5 tends to be a milestone, right? With Survivor, I would assume that maybe he would be returning with a few other people that we already know.
Well, I know that that's possible, but
yeah.
I know that Jeff. I remember reading something right after the premiere, Jeff saying that Bruce had an open invitation to come back literally whenever he wants to. So it could very well just be him returning with of returnees and just getting like a fair shot to actually play the game and not smack his head on a wooden board when he dives towards the end.
But would that be a fair shot though? Like, so
people already know who he is.
Yeah. That's why I'm thinking that it could, because like this isn't 43, 44 back to back where these people are not going to know who Bruce is. When they film 45, these people will know who Bruce is. And I feel like the only way you can avoid I don't think there's ever been a season where it's just one returnee. Correct me if I'm wrong.
At least American. I can think of an Australian season where there was, but
I can't think of a time when there was ever only one either. It's normally like 2 for team captains at the very least.
But who would be the other person?
I don't think that it's going to be just 2. I think this is going to be the opportunity for them that they're going to open to at least like a good amount of returnees. Don't you think?
What if they did
like what?
What if they did like 2 tribes of newbies and 1 tribe of returnees?
Oh yeah, that would be. There's so many possibilities. It also like this is definitely me like stretching, but like the next episode looks like Carson's really going through it. So I wonder if he may also have like a medevac situation.
What if they just bring back all the medevacs from this season?
For real.
It's like honestly, it could be the medevacs from 44 versus the medevacs from Go Wrong.
Yes, because we all want Mr. Joe back.
Absolutely. Again.
Mr. Joe, it was sad to see Mr. Joe go. I think that it's going to be, I think it's going to be all returning because I think that at this point, because it feels like production is very stubborn and it doesn't feel like I don't feel like they're going to try to get rid of all of these advantages. And I think they feel the best way to save their fan base is, let's just do another returnee season.
Yeah.
And I do feel like that will bring viewers back, but if they have all of these advantages, it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same. You bring Christian back or Davey back or someone like that. You bring them back. You want to get Christian, Davey, the social player, strategic player, whatever. You don't want Christian, Davey, whoever else, the idol hunter, the non-idol hunter. Like, I don't want to spend time watching them look for all these thousands of advantages. I want to see their characters again. I don't want to see, and I have a feeling that they're going to think, oh yeah, that's all we need is we just need a returning season. We'll just do the same shit and everyone will love it. I don't think that's true.
Right. I don't think so either. I think that like it's. I wish that there could be a way where they could like kind of regroup and revert, you know, but I don't think that that's the way that it's going to go because of like the marketing of the new era, you know?
Yeah. John?
I think that they should have kept the receipt for the new era. Like, I don't know. I feel like they need to fully revamp.
Mm-hmm.
They need to because having 6, like I don't get what's like interesting about like literally knowing now. Like, I know when there's not going to be a swap. I know that they're going to do a mergatory thing at 12. I know they're going to do this. I know they're going to do that.
Yeah.
So what's the point? Like, I feel like Survivor, you have to like play like not knowing when the merge is, but having an idea of when the merge is, if there could be a swap. But like, I could literally go on Survivor right now and be like, okay, I'm gonna vote off this person, and this person, because I know that at this time we're going to merge. And it's like, I feel like it's too, I don't know. I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it, but I hate it because like, if this was just its own show, like these 4 seasons, it'd be one thing. But there were 40 previous seasons, and it's been done 40 times better. Like, at this point, I would rather them revert back to like Redemption Island.
My fave.
Like honestly, because like at least with Redemption Island, they didn't interfere with the integrity of the game.
Yeah,
they didn't.
I agree with that. Absolutely.
They did. I mean, and you know, the Redemption Island twist on its own. You know, whether people like people coming back after they've been voted out or not, we've got some very compelling storylines at the actual Redemption Island spot, especially in Blood versus Water, you know, and so I feel like if they were to pick an older twist, I personally would rather them bring back One World and have it where it's not just a bunch of jamokes and like 3 people that know what they're doing. Because I did feel like that twist could have worked if it wasn't, you know, the cast of One World.
That twist with 3 tribes.
That would be I would watch that. I mean, that seems cool.
That does, because then too, like, imagine like each tribe has its own idol, but like they're all hidden at like the other tribes can't. So like
that would be a good one.
Like, and so you have to go and give it to this person, that person. So like,
and like this is just proving that there are ways that they can make it work and make it interesting, you know?
And they aren't groundbreaking things either. Like, it's simple things.
Right.
The idol is a simple thing. And so like when people are like, hey, I want back to basics. They're never doing back to basics. We can get over that. I would love back to like idol basics. Like John mentioned earlier, it's like, okay, yeah, we'll just have an idol per camp and one at the merge, and we'll give you a steal a vote or a extra vote. We'll give you those twists. So like basically I would love for them to revert maybe 10 to 12 seasons into the past. And I feel like that'd be it's not back to basics, but it's back to probably what most people look at as like the second best era of Survivor after the period between Cook Islands to Heroes versus Villains. I do want to touch on that. We will get to that question in a second.
Yeah,
I do want to touch on that. But any final thoughts on where the show is headed before we get to another aspect of where the show is headed?
I have no idea where the show's headed. I'm interested to see. I'm interested to kind of see like where it will continue to go. I just don't know how to pick up from that. But I don't know. Like, I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure like maybe there'll be another couple episodes later, but you know, that'll like respark my interest. I was just a little bummed by like the reign of advantages. What do you think, John?
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just sad to see because they really struck gold with this cast. And I just will hate it if this season gets like the reputation of being too overproduced.
Right.
I will hate that for them because like I don't know. I think the problem too is that Jeff is too much in love with the with how things have gone that we're not going to see a change. That's just the fact of the matter. Especially considering how much he hyped this season up so much because he thought in his brain that he rectified what was wrong with 43, but he like this was the mark right here, like right here, more center. This was 43, and he went 44.
Yeah,
The middle. Like we need to find the middle.
Yeah.
So,
as far as the 90-minute rumor is concerned, I believe it.
I believe it too.
I believe it. That is something that people have been kind of clamoring for, and especially with people that watch Survivor Australia. But I do think they'll still stick to one episode a week. But I do think that 30 minutes of extra content could give us more of learning about these folks and watching the strategic part. Now, what my fear is, they move to 90 minutes and it's still all the same thing that we've been getting 41 through 44, just 30 extra minutes, which not the best. But I do feel like that rumor is I think that's going to be legit.
All the more reason for them to be able to bring a dynamic cast back of fan favorites for 45. Like I'm convinced that that it's going to be a returnee season to introduce like the 90 minutes because that's how they introduce things that fans love, with things that are familiar. So those are my predictions. I'm usually wrong for all of them, but I'm gonna lay down my life for this one. I'm confident.
John.
Okay. I think that they're filming it with the intention of it being 90-minute seasons, but Viacom lately has been doing this thing where they introduce something on one of their major networks after filming a season of wanting it to be 90 minutes, looks at Drag Race, and then mid-production being like, we're not doing that, and then having them edit what they filmed to be a 90-minute episode season into an hour-long episode. And I also heard rumors, I don't know how true they are, but I heard rumors that Winners at War was also filmed with that intention. And at the very last second, CBS pulled the plug on it. This is why I think they may film with the intention and they may get the green light for it, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen.
Good point.
But I'm not gonna get excited until I see posted online that it is confirmed, it is happening, it is really gonna happen because I could see them last minute just sweeping it out from under. So
John Buckley's a buzzkill. No, I'm just kidding.
I just sit through Drag Race this season where they had 16 girls walk and the runways were because they wanted to show some show that nobody wanted to watch.
Final thoughts. My fear kind of came true. It does feel like the season kind of may have fallen off the rails a little bit. Now, obviously there's enough time for it to come back, and I think this cast will ultimately save it. Thank goodness. But I feel like they've got to climb back up after. It's been almost universal from what I've seen, but people just did not like this episode. Or most people say, well, the beginning part was good, and then it wasn't. And I'm kind of in that boat. It's at a certain point, something has to change. Something has to happen. I am still excited for Wednesday, though. Obviously.
We're always excited for Wednesday,
I think that it won't be Franny. I don't know who will be, but it won't be Franny.
I'm divided right now between three people. Lauren's got no screen time, and based on some of the exit interviews, it's kind of sounds like she was kind of on the bottom on her original tribe. So I don't know if that's changed. Brandon, I think, might be, if they're trying to eliminate some like muscle and like they also want to get rid of someone from a bigger tribe. And then Carson, maybe. I don't know. Like I think that he's in his hands in too many pots. I just feel like eventually they're gonna come crashing down. So those are my 3 predictions.
John.
My prediction is Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
Because they've been editing certain archetypes of players very similarly that leave at very similar points in a game. In the game, like I feel like Nasir in 41 had he had the personality, you had the backstory, but he really gave nothing in terms of like actual strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Neither did Roxroy,
The legend.
neither did James or Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just I feel like the way the content that we're getting from Brandon for me right now is giving like either like random insignificant blindside at final 6 or he's going home next.
Right.
I just don't see his game fitting into affecting how the season ends.
I agree with you. I think that that's a very, very good point.
So I think like him or we might see like a Jamie blindside, but other than that, like those are the two that I see right now.
I think the characters will be around for a while.
I think the edit's pointing to a Ratu person, and I think it's going to be one of those two.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree.
All right, well, that's it for this one. I know that was kind of a downer, and I do apologize. It's just damn. But I am excited, and I'm hoping that we continue to have we move to a better part of the season. John, thank you so much for coming.
We missed
back.
you.
I'm glad that you guys got to see each other last week, and that you got to meet your hero Chet. And hopefully next time I'll be able to join y'all. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you on the other side.